So what we have here is, and I doubt this is even a real trainer, is this is someone who seems to be testing someone's Doberman Pinscher to see if the dog will protect. I assume that this is because this person owns this Doberman Pinscher, and the owner probably said, I think my Doberman Pinscher will protect me without training. And there seems to be this thing going on around the internet, which I feel somewhat responsible for to some degree, that dogs will not protect you unless they are trained. And it looks like someone has tried to mimic. I mean, I don't know this for certain, but where is it? Dogs. Which one? There's this. I did a few of these Inside Edition ones a few years ago. This one in particular, which has almost 70 million views, and I would say has probably hundreds of millions of views because it has been copied on so many like platforms like TikTok and used, and to sort of show a demonstration that dogs will not protect their owner if they get attacked, even if the owners think the dogs will protect them. And a lot of you may be familiar with this one. This one is Nate, and he's coming in to attack. And then we have this Labrador that runs out. And majority of the dogs we test like this do something like that. However, it's not taken into consideration the fact that a lot of these dogs were specifically selected to act this way, you know, or we kind of knew they were going to act this way. There's certain profiles of dogs, no matter how much training that you're going to do, are probably not going to protect anyway, especially young dogs. Like that Labrador, I don't think was even much over a year of age, and it's a Labrador Retriever, and they were not selectively bred to protect, and such like that. However, it looks like some guy trying to do a similar drill with no sort of pads on and attacking an owner with looks like an adult Doberman Pinscher. And this is what you get, but I want to break it down here. Again, I don't know why the volume keeps starting off on mute. So the Doberman, this guy runs in, and you can see the Doberman is like, what the heck is going on here? Again, sorry about the audio. I don't know why it automatically shuts off. And Kenny correctly says that the dog, from being startled, looks almost like as if it's in, look at this, like it's leaning backwards. It is not going in just to attack. And matter of fact, my guess is if that guy just charged the Doberman Pinscher with the stick and started swinging it, that the Doberman Pinscher might even like run backwards or even run away. And a lot of like trainers will assume that means, oh, this dog will not protect. Someone can break into your house and it could just be chased off and it's not going to protect you. The problem here is that when it comes to protection training, there's different drives that the dogs can go in. And Doberman Pinschers, and this isn't just this isn't something that's unique to Doberman Pinschers. Doberman Pinschers were selectively bred to protect a person. They were not selectively bred, even though they are associated with it, they were not selectively bred to protect property. They were not selectively bred to be prey-based and be chasing after people like police dogs and grab onto people. They were not selectively bred to just be out to fight people. They were selectively bred to protect a tax collector, to you know, that's what they were done for. So that's what they were used for. So people get kind of confused and they try to compare what they may see in other dogs doing protection training, usually sport type work or police type work, which without going into it is just working with dogs in completely different drives. Mostly the drive to see a person as prey, and there's training that goes into the dog to make the dog feel very comfortable that they're always going to win and that they're pretty much invincible, basically. Where here, this Doberman Pinscher, likely without any training, someone comes in the house and yes, the dog is not going to get hit with a stick or wants going to know what's going on, is going to back up, and I would consider that actually normal. Now, the mistake that happens over here by the person with the stick is now once they are charging the owner, which I am sure this dog has a good bond with, you're going to see a completely different drive from the Doberman Pinscher just about instantly. So, so we're going to get the bite. Major, I guess the audio will only stay if it's playing first and it resets after I pause it. So one moment here. Here we go. Now, if it isn't for the owner holding this Doberman back and him pulling backwards, this dog would likely have injured this guy even more. And now you see the dog is a lot more confident, right? You're off. Good girl. As you can see, the dog a lot more confident. And when it comes to protection training, using the drive to be protective of the owners, if the dog has the right temperament, is the right age, has the right temperament, you know, being the right breed often gives you a clue if it's historically been used for that. If it is, the dog has not been bred down to just only be a family pet, which can happen. You know, there's different lines of Doberman Pinschers. It is for personal protection training. It's the easiest drive to work the dog in. And I mean, I'll just give you just quick examples for Q&A over here. Let's say like this, so I have to open up each of these. All right. This is how I was able to train dogs pretty high volume for just pet people, right? Is we didn't focus on really like swinging around the tugs and stuff like that for the dogs and doing predatory. We mostly focused on beating up the owners in front of the dogs and triggering the protective drive from the dogs and then letting the dog come in and bite. You see there's a German Shepherd. This German Shepherd was not, this was bought off of an Amish farm, I believe. And I don't believe the dog would have been a good sport dog or even a police dog. It was not very, very drivey, but was very protective of his owner. And the Dogo, you put the Dogo Argentino over there. If you put him in a field with some like pigs or something to hunt, the Doberman Pinscher, the Dogo Argentino was definitely going to hunt. It had prey drive, but it had very little desire to play with tugs and stuff like that. And again, this was a dog and very little desire to just chase after and hunt people or fight people. But if we beat up the owner in front of the dog, it's a common denominator of a lot of dogs, if they're old enough, if they have the right temperament, to do real protection training pretty quickly and effectively. So it's just something to really understand, because no one really talks about it. There's not overwhelmingly in social media. If you see any sort of protection training, it's going to be strongly correlated with sport type of training or predatory police type of training, where they teach the dogs that they're invincible. They do need the right genetics. Where these protection trained dogs, they're just trained that it's a real threat and you're working on their natural instinct, and they do not need a lot of training to do this. They just need to be successful for a couple of times, and they just get better and they get more confident. And the other big difference is when it comes to things like sticks and stuff, if the dog's getting hurt and lets go, it's okay, because naturally the dog will usually run away, run behind the person who's hitting them, try to bite somewhere else, try to naturally keep themselves safe. And even if they do not engage again, but they're going to bite anytime someone goes back to the owner on the rear end, they serve their purpose. All right. So it's like, there's just a big misconception about protection drive, about a drive where dogs are working not because they're defending themselves, not because they want to hunt people, but because they're concerned about their owner. It is very similar to what you see if there's a den of like wolf cubs or dog pups, and there's a bear or something threatening those. Even wolves, even dogs. I worked around like feral dogs before, and they can be very, very protective of their own with things that they would never engage with unless you triggered that instinct. And dogs are not very different from us. Please, this is the best analogy I can give. And I have done these tests on so many dogs and have trained dogs for different purposes. But the analogy is with that Doberman Pinscher, if you were home in your house by yourself and someone came barging in with a weapon and you were unarmed, and if you had the option to hide, especially if it was someone bigger and stronger and out-armed you, would you? Would it be reasonable to do that? There's no, especially if you didn't have anything that you considered very valuable there. Now, or even if you're out on the street and someone just threatened you for no reason, someone that was bigger, stronger, had a weapon, would you look the other way or go the other way if you could? Now take into consideration, if I don't care who it is, prime Mike Tyson, all right? Prime Mike Tyson in the 80s, right? He barges in your house and attacks one of your children, or attacks your mother or your father. Mike Tyson is going to get punched or tackled or something on the backside, something, all right? You're much more likely to react. You're going to do something, all right? And that's how strong that instinct is for a dog. Unless, like I said, it's different. If you have a 10-year-old, someone's not mature enough, they may still go and hide and run away and try to get help. But usually mature adult individuals are going to react in surprising ways, and that instinct can be used. And it's what, like I said, it's what I primarily used for years and years, right? Here's a dog, a second session. Like, this doesn't take thousands and thousands of dollars to
Get him, Josh.
The dog sees its owner. It's the easiest instinct to work with the dog. The biggest prerequisite from a professional dog trainer's point of view is very good control, very good obedience with the dog, very good control, responsible ownership, because obviously you don't want to open up that can of worms. Is once the dog knows they can do that, and every time they're successful, they actually get better and more confident with it. All right, so that's my take on that Doberman video. One moment. pull this one up. All right. Like this dog. I should yell at you. All right. Watch this video. I am sure this dog's had no previous protection training. There's a lot going on inside of this video. Basically, it looks like there was a fight between two men. One guy's getting beat up, and he has this like 50-pound dog that I am sure, and I'm telling this is from years of experience, that I am sure if this dog was challenged by a man, was off the leash, challenged by just some random person, the dog is going to back up, maybe go defensive, like maybe bark. But because its owner, its world is getting beat up, this dog is jumping in. Even after it's kind of hard to watch. It even gets picked up and tossed and still comes back because it is a completely different drive. All right. And then you have to, so from this, you have to ask yourself, with all of the poems and stories for thousands of years about the loyalty of a dog and how, about how protective they can be of their family and the owner, do dogs need to have formal protection training in order to protect? Watch this video. This one, like, it's hard to watch, but you can't really argue that the most reliable type of protection training is when a dog is not really as concerned about itself. It's concerned about someone that they love. Did you see that? This little dog got picked up and tossed by someone who's fighting who I assume is its owner. Say there's this guy over here, and he has a little dog. He's having an altercation. His little dog goes in to help out. He's biting this guy's pants. The dog gets flung, rolled into the street. Owner gets slammed on the floor. This looks like a pretty big, strong man. The dog is back, all right? Because the guy on the floor, I'm assuming, is his world, all right? And this is Mike Tyson to him, all right? And he's going to come where he can help out. Now, guess what happens, all right? The dog's biting. Now, it doesn't matter if this guy could pick up this dog and toss it again. Did the dog do its job? Technically, if this guy, the guy who was on the floor, wanted to get away, he now has the option to get away and escape if he wanted to. Because even a relatively small dog, I guess this dog's about 50, 55 pounds, is able to, no one likes to get bitten by a dog, is able to distract this guy enough where the owner could get away here if he wanted. But of course he's coming back to help because his dog is... Okay. All right. So does a dog need training to protect its owner? No. That is the real answer. That's from experience training military dogs, police dogs, security dogs, handling security dog, years and years of training personal protection dogs, and years of testing people's dogs in all different types of environments. Dogs do not need formal training to protect their owner. However, yeah, it does make them more successful, and you're gonna have better control, and you're not gonna get into less likely to get into trouble if you have some formal training.